What a wonderful time to be alive. Oh, to live in a decade of prosperity. This actually might be kind of entertaining if I could read. Oh, what a time we live in. Oh my gosh, what the heck was that? Whew! What is this? Well, isn't that a bit strange? Introduction. For almost 100 years now, the golden 20s has yet to be dissolved in North American culture. From the 1920s onward, each age has inherited their wild, freeing, and consumerist characteristics from that of the second decade of the 20th century. Now that is quite strange. Whatever this must be. Let's just hope it's not the work of the communists. No. Maybe I should keep reading. After all, if not for my sake, for the sake of the country. Alright. Let's keep reading.
Who are you? What, you gonna stab me blank face or you gotta tell me your name? What kind of clothes you wearing?
Oh, you're not one of those commies, are you? Already got enough of them in this country as is. Now look, are you just gonna sit there blank face or are you gonna get the heck out of here before I smash your face in? What?
For almost 100 years now, the golden 20s has yet to be dissolved in North American culture. From the 1920s onward, each age has inherited their wild, freeing, and consumerist characteristics from that of the second decade of the 20th century. With the economy moving at an exponential rate at around this time, movies, radio, records, and other such consumer products fueled a culture that had been left shocked by the Great War. Just about every facet of this period was going doolally, with some thanks to somewhat wise governing by the administrations of the time. To say the least, the 1920s was a decade that forever altered the cultural developments that preceded it. With the Russian Revolution of 1917 having come to fruition, 1919 saw the creation of the Communist International. Combined with many bombings, of which were most likely unrelated and not of terrorism, many American citizens perceived such atrocities to be the work of communists. Activity of this kind is what kickstarted the Red Scare of 1920, as well as the ill-conceived accusations of immigrants, liberal reforms, and organized labor, which began in the 1920s and retained prevalence for quite some time. President Warren Harding took office in 1920 and made it his mission to lead the nation towards opulence through pro-corporation mandates, with the steep regression that occurred under Wilson's presidency having left a sour taste in each American's mouth. The plutocratic Andrew Malone, who was the contemporary Secretary of the Treasury, successfully made reductions on the national debt and slashed federal funding, therefore, in part, creating the prosperous landscape that his president envisioned. In the wake of the National American Women's Suffrage Association and the women's suffrage movement altogether, the Constitution received, on the 18th of August 1920, the 19th Amendment, of which, in turn, granted all women the right to vote.
Well, this is very entertaining at all.
Whoa, okay. Finally here. I just gotta find him, and we gotta get the heck out of Dodge. Oh, there he is.
Jumping cheats on a pogo stick. What the heck are you?
Look, I know it may seem a little hard to believe, but I am one of your descendants from the year 2049. Now, I know it's like 120 years away, but I need you desperately for the future, alright? It all depends on you.
You're not communist, are you?
Okay, listen, we don't have much time. I need you to read this outline and get the heck out of here before he starts walking in. Wait, who's gonna come walking in? Oh my god, it's him! It's him! What are you talking about? That's just my boy Jimmy. How's it going, Jimmy? Oh, shoot. Darn. Run for it! What the heck was that? Shh. Keep your voice down. Okay. Since it seems like we have a little bit of time, I'll explain to you what the heck is going on. So, I'm from the year 2049, and around my time, the world is a complete wasteland. But one of my descendants from the year 1989 wrote a outline. Now, I've deduced that if I were to send that outline to your time, and if you were to read it, then you could stop the Great Depression from happening, and then we could live in a generation of prosperity and avoid the future that I come from. You get that? So how do the communists play into all this? Oh my god. Wait, that's probably him. I'll go check.
Follow me.
This guy won't let up. What are we going to do? We'll have to teleport. Teleport? Where are we going to teleport?
Teleport to 1989. That's when the outline was made. We'll grab a copy, we'll read it, and we'll move on with our lives, alright? Alright, I can get behind that. How do I teleport? I'll show you how. It's like riding a bicycle without a bicycle. Alright. Let me show you how it's done. Oh, it's that easy, huh? So run? Be fine. I've done that all my life. I want to just try it. Why? Okay. Here we go then. Gotta get ready. Here we go. 1, 2. Well, that's finally done.
How wrong they were. Oh.
What? Okay, don't be startled. I'm from the future, he's from the past. Now, we need you.
Why is everything so colorful?
Okay. Well, all I know is that we need that outline, so if you could just give it to us. Hey, no way, man. I need this for a project. Come on. Why the heck do you need it anyways? Oh, well, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, you can totally have it. Here. Thanks a lot, man. Alright, 1920s, man. Get reading.
Ah, yes, lovely. By the way, do you mind if we retire in your room? We have a bit of a killer schedule.
Yeah, it's totally fine. Just make sure you don't stink up my pad, alright? I'm gonna go get some cold ones. Alright, thank you.
Cold what?
From 1922 till the end of the decade, the economy was in for one heck of a trip. Stock dividends shot up to 108%, wages earned a 33% boost, and corporate profits soon received a 76% increase. Around this epoch of prosperity, poverty was starting to wear thin. As the 20s gained the extension of credit, an American consumer could purchase products through a process of fixed payments as opposed to shilling out at full price. Such laxity increased consumption tenfold and would only increase as the decade progressed. Technological improvements felt the warm embrace of the 1920s as the aspirations of a more lenient work life and an increase of opportunities were shared by each American citizen. The emergence of the decade is when the film industry found its definitive hold on the economy and cultivated one of the most devoted audiences in movie history. Around this juncture, one could watch a double feature for the low price of 25 cents, with contemporary consumers wishing nothing more than to be amused after a hard day's work. A movie, even in silence, was fulfilling and readily available entertainment. This booming market gave birth to the earliest line of movie stars, with the most notable of which being Charlie Chaplin, the titular 1920s caricature. Innovations of industry were best exemplified by Ford, which made perfection of the assembly line system. Ford's most popular car model, the Model T, acquired an accumulated $550 price drop as the model received a $300 price tag by 1924. Later on, used Model Ts were dirt cheap, meaning anyone with a low income could hop in and drive. With a new need for a greater road system, developments in retail and servicing were nurtured by the increase in personal transportation, with drivers no longer being limited by the fixed directions and schedules of mass transit, such as that of trains. In the election of 1924, candidate Calvin Coolidge found himself with a majority of both electoral and popular votes when compared to his opponents. Having been under the wing of his predecessor as vice president, Harding, Coolidge sought to continue the growth of the nation's welfare and doubled down on pro-business policies. Additionally, Coolidge turned out to have a much more transparent administration as opposed to his predecessor, with the Harding presidency having been riddled with as much corruption as that of the Grant presidency.
Well, this is so boring. What are you doing?
Oh, me? I was playing one of the best electronic video games of all time.
You know, wouldn't it be a good idea to move to someplace a bit more, inconspicuous and safe?
Yeah, you know what? That's not such a bad idea. Alright, you boys should be safe. Absolutely no one, absolutely nothing can penetrate these walls, I'm telling you.
Oh yeah, I kind of forgot about that door.
Take cover!
What do we do now?
Don't worry, I got an idea. Here we go. Whoa!
Teleport! Okay. Wait, what are we doing? It's alright, I'll show you how to do it. Follow my lead.
Alright, they're safe. Well, boys, welcome to my future. 2049.
Why do you guys have two printers?
Hey, what can I say? We got a lot of stuff to print out. Now, you 1920s man, you got something to read.
Alright, I'll get to it. Alright.
No, this was a very entertaining to read.
Just read it!
Read. Oh,
Okay. I'll get back to it.
now, where was I?
Oh, yes.
The frenetic locomotion of the economy, as well as the revelations of the First World War, gave way to drastic social change within American society. By the end of the Great War, many American conventions were shaken by what seemed to be a pointless war that consisted mostly of trench warfare. With people's ideals having been unraveled, pandemonium caused by what seemed to be existential dread ensued. The nation needed a decade of good times after his Western virtues were mostly dispelled, and with a lucrative economy to stand on, people were bound to go buck wild. The quintessential figure of America's now unleashed nature was that of the flapper. Such a lady would antagonize that of the traditional woman that preceded her, with her right to vote and her full display of both her independence and her indulgence in contemporary pleasures like that of her male counterpart. A woman's femininity could now be expressed more overtly. The 18th Amendment, an alteration of the Constitution that was to outlaw any and all intoxicating beverages, yet, ironically, had its effects almost completely negated by that of the citizens of which it applied to. Alcoholism saw no great decline in the 1920s. Even with prohibition, law enforcement simply lacked the resources to put a stop to the proliferation of the juice. Heinous clubs of all sorts would dole out a glass to any good patron, bootleggers would smuggle the stuff from all over, and operations helmed by gangsters like that of Al Capone saw to it that they distilled their own brand. Aside from being as omnipresent as illegal drinking, and illegal retailing of alcohol for that matter was, it set a new precedent that endorsed the small breaking of laws here and there for the sake of the life of the party. The end of World War I instigated an immense disbursement of jazz musicians from New Orleans to cities up north, such as Chicago and New York City. Consolidated with nefarious anti-prohibition nightclubs, which many jazz bands inhabited, and the easy listening style of jazz, the genre quickly rose to great heights in popularity. Moreover, proliferation of the stuff was made even easier with the advent of vinyl recordings and, primarily, urban radio. Due to jazz having taken the nation by storm, the 20s received its second alias, the Jazz Age. Technological advancements permitted not only increased productivity both for the industry and for the individual, they created a more prevalent market for entertainment on all fronts. Jazz bands could encapsulate their symphonies within vinyl recordings, silent films were popularized by people's newly acquired spare time, and additional at-home entertainment was capable via radio and its expansion in channel diversity. The predominant remnants of the 1920s, of which is still on display presently, is that of the architectural style of Art Deco, with its name having been conceived by Frenchman insert name here in his 1925 art journals insert name here, also known as Art Deco, heralded an age of machinery and industry with its pompous contemporary aesthetic. Such structures as the Chrysler Building, which was completed on the 19th of September, 1928, still stand strong as a link to a bygone era.
Wait, did you guys hear that? Don't worry. I'll go check it out. And you know, I thought I heard something funny. Oh my god! No. Come on, speak to me, buddy. Come on, speak. This is it. I did what I needed to do. Now, I'm going to die. No, not 2049, guy. You can't die. I barely know you. Please, after I die, fulfill my one wish. That you have my sunglasses preserved in ice in Antarctica. Yeah, you know what? That was actually a strange sound. Oh my god! He's dead. Alright, that's it! No more horsing around! 20's man, give me a beat! Oh, am I supposed to press this? Okay, sorry. 20's man, you better finish reading that outline. You're the only one who can take this guy down. Ah! You got it, pal. Alright, let's do this.
By the end of the 1928 election, candidate Herbert Hoover won the presidency with a mission to continue the Coolidge prosperity, as he so astutely put it. When he took office in 1929, 23 million motorcars were zooming along on American tarmac. Buyers within the stock market were only required to put down $1 of capital for each free dollars of purchased stock, and the economy as a whole saw high production in a majority of its industries. With the belief that additional policies of which support American individualism equate to sustaining a booming economy, President Hoover made it his directive to follow the trail that his predecessor had taken. From protection for Native Americans to the proposal of a Social Security program that predated that of FDR's, the Hoover administration seemed to be blooming into a great success with its policies and propositions, a true successor to that of the Coolidge administration. Even though great earnings seemed to be what the future had in store, naivety is what plagued the minds of many Americans. Although the event seemed completely inexplicable at the time, the crash of 1929 was a fate cultivated by wishful speculations. Stocks had lost 90% of their original values, and, due to a high multitude of investors, many Americans were left in ruin. However, this wasn't what brought the age of prosperity to a close. The crash was only a harbinger of the true fate of the nation, and it was the perfect sour note for the decade to stumble out with.
No! 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 Oh! No! I'll get you! I'll get you all! Oh! No! No! Not the bees! Not the bees! Ah!
Guess this is where we part ways. Can't say that this experience really told me all that much, but I mean, what can you do? I assume that you really didn't learn that much either. Actually, you know what? I think I did learn something. Oh? Well, if I learned anything, it's that the 1920s were such wild times. I mean, governing power was at its finest, and people were just breathing in excess after having been shell-shocked by World War I, and entertainment, technology, industry as a whole was just at its peak, at least so it seemed. And while, yes, we may have generations to come that may be similar to the 20s, this kind of decade can never be recreated, at least not entirely. And I'm very thankful that I got to live through this kind of decade. That's something that I can never experience again. Well, that seems kind of arbitrary, and I learned nothing from that. I'm just gonna take this back. See you later. Well, what can you do?
Oh my gosh, was that sitting out for an entire day? Oh my gosh, that tasted awful!